Hello to all. Hello. Welcome to Hatch Studios. I'm Thibert, and we are going to do a live show. This is so live. So you guys get to listen in while I stumble all over myself for the next couple hours. Yeah, it's so much fun to watch people fail live or make a fool of themselves, I should say. Welcome everybody. I am going to start off doing some congratulations. We hit a milestone today. Well, it was actually last night. So I wanted to get into that, and I'm going to be doodling and doing some drawing for you as well. So they usually say that's the kiss of death for these live streams, but I don't care. I got a lot of work to do, and I'm hoping you guys will hang out with me and make it go a little bit easier, at least less boring, because you guys are always so good in the chat. So yeah, I have a sign of life. I have Shinto Ketchup. Hey, brother, how are you? Good to see you. And what do we have here? Tinfoil hat Nick. That's a mouthful. It's never a fail as long as you try. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. People say that these live drawing streams are boring. I never find them boring. The only thing is you have to pay attention to them. You have to watch them. You know, you can't just listen to them. And sometimes I just listen to live streams. I don't pay attention to them. So whenever I watch or I tune into somebody's YouTube channel and they're drawing, I usually end up having to pay attention to them and watch. Because it's visual, man. It's not just listening to somebody's voice like you're doing now. What is this? I borrow ideas. I do. I borrow ideas as well. Sometimes I blatantly steal them. Sometimes I'll just swipe them outright. I don't do that as much anymore. When I was younger and I didn't have a lot of ideas, I did. But now I don't do it as much. Although, no, I'm not going to say. I think I more subconsciously borrow than blatantly steal. I wasn't around for Black and White, but I am looking forward to Chrono. Well, thank you. Is that Blood Demon? Blood Demon. It's Blood Demon. Man, I have been, I don't know. Maybe I'll get into it later. Some news is getting me down, bugging me. And maybe I'll talk about it when I go into a stream of consciousness when I'm drawing later. Okay, tinfoil hat. Nick is back. LOL. I co-host a drawing stream, so I know what you mean. I'm kind of looking for a co-host, to be honest. That would be nice. It'd be nice to have a co-host. Dance for us, you sexy beast. I could turn the camera on and dance for you guys, but trust me, yeah, this whole stream will come unglued. You guys will tune out instantly. Oh yeah. And if you could, the subs are going up. The stream here or the channel is going strong, man. I am so thankful and happy. I mean, I'm not going up hundreds a day, but it is going up like increments of 1 and 2 a day. So that's all because of you. So thank you guys so much. And if you could like this video and sub if you haven't, and get the word out, man, that Art is going to be drawing and boring, apparently, Durakin. You know, everybody needs an arch nemesis, and he is mine. He is mine. Yes, but we kid, we have fun. Well, you know what? I'm gonna get right into it so I can get into the drawing, and then I have a special piece of artwork I'm gonna share later to you guys. And I did it. I hired somebody to help me out and to bring this piece of artwork to fruition. And it's all for a major supporter of not only this channel, but of all my Indiegogo endeavors as well. So I really appreciate it. And I'm going to show that off a little bit later. Wait a minute. What is this? How does one sub a person? I don't know, sub me, sub the channel. I don't know. Listen, dude, you're going to get hung up. You're going to get hung up on words. I've heard of Subway. You know what? They used to make good sandwiches. I don't really care for them anymore. There was a place called Quiznos I thought made a superior sub. And then is there Jersey Mike's? But I'm not a big Subway sandwich guy. I try not to ride the subway either in New York City. I only do it when I absolutely have to, because it's unless you like the smell of urine. I don't I don't say you do that. Yeah, stay away from the subway at all possible. So here we go. I am going to do some screen sharing so I can thank each and every one of you and let you know what this big news, this big to-do, this milestone is. Look at the total, people. Look at the total. 30,458. Yes, 424 backers. You guys are the best, man. This is amazing. This is the little campaign that could. We are chugging along, and this is a big milestone. Why, you ask? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we just added 6 new pages. We just added 6 new pages to the page count. So we originally started off as a 48-page book. Now we are a self-contained 54. Well, we were at a self-contained 54, and we are now at a self-contained 60-page epic adventure of Chrono Mechanics, you guys. So give yourself some applause if you supported and you back this book. I do greatly appreciate it. I'm getting emotional here. Yeah, this is so frickin' killer. Yeah, I said it. Frickin'. That's another word for effin', and that's another word for uffin'. Uffic-ing. or just fucking terrific. Fucking cool. Fucking amazing. So there you go. I like to use the F word, but only when there's humor attached. So hopefully you found that funny. So yes, so this is amazing, you guys. Thank you so much. Chrono Mechanics, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. And you know what? I woke up, sometimes I wake up with ideas. So let me run this by you. I have a new quick pitch, and I've been trying to think about how I can pitch this quicker when I go on other people's shows and things like that. Here it's a long form, so I can talk about Chrono Mechanics and things in a more in-depth way. I can't talk today. In a more in-depth way than I can on other people's shows. So let me see if I can get this together and read this with some enthusiasm. A team of time repairmen who stop a team of time repairmen who stop the world from falling apart by maintaining the big cosmic clockwork machine known as time itself. So that's kind of the quick pitch. I misspelled a lot of words because I woke up in the middle of the night and wrote this down. Sometimes I do that. When I have an idea, I just get up, I write it down, and then go back to sleep, because sometimes you forget these things. So it would be a team of time repairmen who stop the world from falling apart by fixing and maintaining the big cosmic clockwork machine known as time itself. I like it. A team of time repairmen who stop the world from falling apart by maintaining the big cosmic clockwork machine known as time itself. Yes, I'll work some of the details out, but I like it. It's quicker. It is quicker. So here it is, man. Here is the first page. Well, it's the cover, actually. The first page of the site. And these are the mechanics, Team 9.2 of Sector 7, who the story focuses on. And as you can see, there's one member there that is not in mechanics garb, and his name is Doug, and he is a 20th century slacker rock star. So work is a 4-letter word to this guy. He has no work ethic at all. None. Zero. Zip. And so the dilemma is, how is he going to fall in line with a team of blue-collar workers, knuckle-busting repairmen who take their job very seriously? So that's what the main story is about. How does this guy fit in, and how will he replace, or does he replace a fallen team member, a beloved fallen team member? So here's some of the pages. So you guys come over to the site, take a look for yourself. There's a lot of cool artwork to check out. I have Narwhal on colors, and I have Render Contender who's helping me on some of the pages as far as breakdowns are concerned. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. These are all interior pages. So this is time running amok, or this is what I refer to as time falling apart, time merging. So in this the core timeline, which is a prehistoric landscape, a Joe's Drive-In 50s cafe style, eatery just pops up out of nowhere, which means time is merging, and that's not a good thing. Because when time starts, when anomalies start happening, that means that the machine is really malfunctioning, and the longer it goes broken, the more craziness happens with timelines. So they can merge to the point of being so tangled up that they cannot fix them. It's so jumbled. And so they do have, like Chrono Incorporated has a fail-safe for that. It's called the Go Primal protocol, which means that they have to reboot time back to the primordial ooze, which means everything has to start all over again, which is not a good thing, So that's what could potentially happen in the story. Time could be rebooted altogether if they do not fix this machine. So there's all kinds of timelines that get merged. There's all kinds of displaced people and characters throughout time that they have to interact with to get to the work site. So here's them interacting with an Indian village, or Native American village, I guess, is how we refer to it now. So we have a work in progress sketchbook, which is killer. And here's some images from that book. And I should post some more. I did a live stream where I showed more of the working drawings and things that are going to be in the sketchbook. So when you guys get some time, go back and check those out. We have Superstar Talent variant cover collection. So we have Oot, drawn by Sean Galloway. We have Doug, drawn by Tom Bancroft, Disney animator. And we have Zin, drawn by Aaron Lepresti. And we have Caravaggio, drawn by the great Carlo Barberi. And I inked this as well. So this is a little jam piece that we did for the Indiegogo. So here's posters. The posters are oversized. So we have the Doug World Tour poster, which is, what size do we have the description here? Let me see. No, it says it in the tier though. I'll go back and give you a size, but it's bigger than 11 by 17. So the Doug World Tour 78 double Go Gonzo World Tour poster, or as we call it, the D Tour. And that's really, really cool. It's heavy stock paper, And so then we have the Time to Panic, Chrono Mechanics wall poster as well. And that's fun because it's them in their core state. So they're not in mechanic form. So it's kind of rare to see them that way. And so, yeah, look at all these stretch goals, you guys. So far we unlocked all the trading card stretch goals. Thank you very much. So you'll get all those cards absolutely free on the house. You'll get this trading card absolutely free. You will get this button, this commemorative Chrono Team 9.2 of Sector 7 button. And you will get this very, very special guitar pick, Lucky Pick, Doug's guitar pick. And this is a character in the story, believe it or not. How could a guitar pick be a character in the story? Well, you're just going to have to pick up the book and find out. So at 25K, we had 6 more pages added. And at 30K, we have 6 more pages added. So I will have to put an unlocked here right in front of the woohoo. So that is all good, man. 60 pages of content. You guys have helped me build this book, and I appreciate it, man. I greatly appreciate it. And so let's see the size of these posters. The prints, those are mini prints, so those are the size of a comic book. And then we have, wow, there we go. We have here we go. Variant covers. So, oh no, it's not the variant cover. It is the posters. Boom. So receive high quality 18 by 13. So the Doug World Tour poster and the Time to Panic, A Time to Panic, are 18 by 13, and the mini prints are 6.5 by 10. So that's that. And each one of these books, these book tiers, comes with a trading card. So the featured item comes with 2 trading cards, one for the main book, the story, and one comes with the work in progress. And so each one of these trading cards focuses on a character or an aspect to Chrono Mechanics. So the main book comes with a team trading card, and the work in progress book comes with a Eugene trading card. And Eugene is the basically the data bank, the computer for Chrono Incorporated. He keeps all the timelines and employees basically in control, keeps track of them, knows where everybody's at, and what is happening at any particular time. But he likes to think of himself as a human. So he walks around as a hologram. So he's going to be his own trading card. And so the posters do not come with a trading card. However, the variant cover collection does come with a trading card. So each one of the books comes with an accompanying trading card. So the Caravaggio cover comes with a Caravaggio trading card. Doug comes with Doug card, Oot card, and Zin card. So, but the only place to get all of those trading cards I just mentioned and 4 extra trading cards is in the ultimate tier. So there's 4 trading cards in the ultimate tier that do not come with any of the other tiers. So I believe that's 10 collector cards that come with the tiers themselves. And then there's 5 add-on cards that are in form of stretch goals. So those are just fun, like variant trading cards. But these ones that come with the tiers, those are they're all going to have the same theme. So they're a collector's pack or a collector's set. So they're all going to have the same design and motif. And then on the back, they'll have their stats. So then you'll get a little backstory of each one of the characters. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So once again, you guys, thank you so very much for helping fulfill this dream. We are at 30,458. 1,000. We have 424 backers. So this is really, really cool. And I'm going to keep it in demand until we go to print. And let me see how many pages we have done. So you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to stream or go back to StreamYard. And then I can read the chat as well. So thanks, guys, again. So let me see. Let me see here. I'm going to do this. Wow, the camera just kind of messed up again. What the heck? Well, that looks pretty good. This looks pretty bad. So this is the book where I keep all the pages, so you can see it's filling up. So I start off with the layout, and then I go to pencils, and then I go to inks, and then I go to coloring. So I'm going to move fast because some of these are spoiler alerts. So that's 35, 37, 38, 39, 42, 43. So I'm up to page 45 as far as line art. So if we kept with the original page count, which was 48 pages, we would only have, what was it? What would that be? 5 more pages? Or wait, what did I say? 45 pages? That'd be 3 more pages. So that's pretty cool. So so what is that? That'd be 5, 35, 45. Yeah. So I just sent out 12 pages. Wow, I'm yawning. Hold on. Wow, sorry about that. That was a big yawn. So I just sent out the last 12 pages to yawn. That's what I just did. To Render Contender. So he is doing some breakdowns right now over my layouts. So I should be getting, I think he said he was going to send me something tonight. So I'll be bringing those together in form of a live stream for you guys as well. I will be throwing an epic pizza party for us. You know, if you guys were here, I would, man, because that's how much I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, and it's all because of you guys. I could not do this without you. Yes, that is frickin' effing great. Yes, I like that. Okay, no womans. I don't know what that means. Time keeps ticking, ticking, ticking into the future. That's true. The great Steve Miller knew. Will it be? I don't know, man. If we can get this up, I'll look into some hologram cards. Heck yeah, I aims to please. Not looking, not looking, not looking when I was flipping the pages. You were looking. Don't lie. Let me see. I don't know. This looks pretty good. Let me check the camera and see. Sometimes there's gain and then there's the gain is set too high, and sometimes it's the saturation. Oh, that's worse. Oh, that looks a little better. Let's see. The gain's all the way down. That warmed it up a little bit. I don't know. We'll soldier forth, but that's weird. Like right down here, it gets weird, but up here, it looks better. I don't know. I need to get work. I need to get to work. I need to get to work. I need to get some stuff done. So I think I got 10 of these. Let me see how many of these I got so far. So I did these the other day. So that's what they're going to look like without the ink wash. So these still are just the line art and brush stuff. So I got a bunch of those. And you guys have been messaging me. So if you still want one of these, let me know and I'll put one together for you. And so these are the ones I did this morning. So I got the line art all worked out. I just need to do the brush work. So, and just keep in mind, I do have a special piece of artwork to show you down the line, but I want to get out from under some of these today. Actually, I'm going to finish them all up today. That is the plan, at least. You have to have plans. We all have to have plans. That is weird looking, though. Why is this doing this? If I bring more light in, does that help? It's weird. It looks like it's kind of 3D. Is it the light? Let me bring some more light over. Man, this camera is a pain in the butt. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, look what that does. See, that's why I got it. All the shades are down. This camera is horrible. What the heck? Let me see if I can adjust this camera again. Sorry about this, you guys. If I'm going to be drawing, you should see what I'm putting together. So brightness, does that help? Not really. Saturation, contrast. Nope. I don't know. It sort of looks like it's out of focus. Oh, camera. Saturation, sharpness is all the way up. Let me change. It doesn't help. And the gain just makes everything worse. Well, I think this is the best we're going to get, you guys. So hopefully it's good enough to keep going. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep going here. Sorry about that. We'll keep moving forward. I always adjust the camera, but for some reason, like before the show, but I think it's StreamYard's actually. Like StreamYard's, there's some kind of thing that happens in StreamYard that changes the resolution. So what I see through the camera and what I see before I go live is different. So I heard somebody talk about that StreamYard, you could have like the best camera, and I have a really, really good top of the line camera, but StreamYard doesn't really, it doesn't necessarily work that well with StreamYard, but the same person I was talking about that the other day also mentioned that StreamYard is working on that. So we should get a better image. Like the camera films just me okay, but when there's any kind of detail like this, it doesn't work as well. And it's all because of the light, because in the evening and like now, the lighting's different. So sometimes it looks better than others, and it's mainly due to the light that comes in. Because right now, if I opened all the shades up, man, you wouldn't see any detail at all. It would just be white. So I kind of have to turn down the lighting. The light that comes in the room. It's my ongoing bane. It's the bane of my existence. All right. I think I do that, and I do that. And then the line art on Whitney is done. Oops, I spoke too soon. Boop, boop, a little lip detail there. So these are pretty detailed, you guys. This is not like a quick con sketch. You know, there's a lot more detail to these. And I think there were like 3 people yesterday that wanted to buy one of these sketches. So I did make a couple extras. So if you guys want one of these, let me know, and you guys can PayPal me, and I'll work one up for you. And I'll send it your way like ASAP. I won't wait for your order. Well, we'll see. I mean, a lot of you have already gotten your order. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you have a black and white book that you haven't received yet, it'll be in that bundle. And if you have already got your book, then we'll ship it out, you know, like ASAP. ASAP. Yeah. Oh, about I was talking about the car. Yeah, I think we're gonna pass on the car. Their counter offer wasn't that good. So I think we're just going to buy the car we have. We were leasing it, so we don't owe that much on it. So I think we're just going to purchase it instead of getting a new car. Sometimes new cars are overrated. I like the one we got. It's in really good shape. Okay. So do I have all my line work done? Oh, the most important part of the drawing right here. Signature. Always. Some people say, you got to know figure drawing. Oh, you need to know composition. Nope. Signature. It's all about the signature. What do all the greats have in common? Killer signatures. Do. So, yeah, I think this is where hanging out with somebody would be beneficial. Okay, so there is that. So I think that's it. So let's start another one. Here we go. I'll ink it all upside down. Maybe I'll do that later. That'll be a challenge. Keep it interesting. Okay, so I kind of structure in everything with a thicker pin. So I do all my main structure stuff with the pin here. It just it goes faster, and then you can get a bolder line for the outline, which most comics have a thicker outline and a thinner interior line. Yes. So I think I'm halfway done with these. So yeah, I don't have it. Actually, I'll put it in the description. But if you did want one of these, just go through my website. It's called Art by Thibert, and there's a contact. There's a way to contact me through the site, and that goes directly to my emails, which is better than if you DM'd me, because I don't always check those. So that'll be cool. I think I got three people that wanted one of these, so that's pretty cool. I don't mind doing that. Yeah. The main thing with the hair is get a nice flow to it. It's good movement. It does help. Get her shoulder in there. And I heard Mike Miller the other day on his show. I think he did an unboxing of Black and White, and he said my signature looked like it said Mo. I'm like, how dare you? I am not Mo, nor have I ever been Mo. He doesn't understand style. Like, it's a style, Mike. So if you've ever seen my signature, like the one I sign comic book covers and stuff, it's a T with maybe I'll do it for you, and then you guys can make fun of it like Mike did. It's let me get a piece of paper or something I can do this with. It's like this. Let me do with a thicker marker. So it's an A and then a T and then a line, which is Thibert, and then I do that, and that's the I. So it's like that. It's a quick movement like that, but this is the A, this is the T, and this is the T bear, and then this is the I for T bear, or the I for the I. The dot of the I should say. There you go. Learn how to talk. Yeah. So thanks, Mike. And then he even Pamela's signature. Oh, you know what? I know where they're at. I think I have a cover here. Like the PK, like the PKT right here. That's my wife's signature. Actually, she's the only one who signed this. I didn't sign it, and Taylor didn't sign it. So it's Pamela K. T. Bear. And so the T is like a cross, like a Christian cross. So this is like her spiritualness, and that's the T for T Bear. So her middle initial is, or her middle name is K. So it's PKT. So that's what that is, Mike. Gosh. So I probably opened the floodgates. I know Durakin's probably coming in full force. Yeah, it does look like Mo. Art, you need to go back to the drawing board. Come up with a different way to sign your name. I used to spell my whole name out, but I did a Dynamic Forces signing, I think, for Cable One or something like that. And there were like, it was like thousands of books. And I was doing the signature, like spelling my name out, but it was taking a long time. And I wasn't keeping up with the flow. So I think it was Nick or somebody said, maybe you need a different signature, like something that you could do faster. So I tried a couple different ones, and then that one just kind of stuck. So I think it's a cool looking, it is kind of stylized, but I like it. It just takes a long time to spell out T-Bear. Okay. But he liked the book. He gave it his approval, which was nice. It's all good. So I appreciate the little shout out there. Let's get this nostril in there. Little weight there. Man, I put the clock in the other room because you guys said you could hear it. I can still hear it. That thing is loud. I never, because I didn't hear it until you guys started talking about it yesterday on the live stream. And so I got real subconscious, or it got into my head, and I was like, nah, I should take that thing out of the room. And it's in another room, and I can still hear it. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So there we go. She's a pretty lady. Oh my gosh, what is with this stupid ass camera? What the hell? That is weird, man. I'm going to try to adjust this thing again. It's like got its own frickin' mind. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like that video effect again. Gain is down, white balance. What the heck? Backlight. No, it doesn't get rid of that weird grainy. What is that? This is weird. I don't know how to get rid of that look. Contrast just kind of grays it out, but it still has that weird look. What is that? Man, I am so sorry. This is completely unprofessional, but I don't know how to fix it. Yeah, I don't know what it is, why it looks so weird. This is actually kind of pissing me off. Let me see. That is really bizarre. Saturation, white balance. Huh. I can brighten it, but I can't get rid of that weird effect on it. Let me backlighting. That's not it. White balance. Wow. Saturation. That just either cools it or grays it, or brings up the color. Is that better? That is better. That is better. Okay. Holy crap. I can't believe. Okay. That looks pretty good. Sorry about that, guys. It was the contrast. You better stay. You better stay, camera. I got some work to do. Now go away. Why aren't you going away? Thank you. All right. Oh, look at that. That brings some sanity to things. Man, I apologize. That is really annoying. If it isn't one thing, it's another. And the camera never works the same way twice. Like I said, based on the time of day, it always needs to be adjusted and readjusted. And I always do that before each show to try to get the best out of it, the best look based on the lighting that's here in the room. So I think we got it now. I'm going to finish up her face, then I'm going to look at it, make sure that camera's behaving itself. I think that the camera is self-aware. It's on some kind of timing device. It waits for me to get comfortable and then it F's up. Sons of bitches. You're all a bunch of sons of bitches. All the cameras, that is. All cameras. Okay. Alrighty. She's getting there. Well, now you guys can see what I'm doing. It does help. So yeah, this is the last of my my obligation to the Black and White Indiegogo campaign, other than, you know, helping pack books from time to time, which I wish I had more time to, but I don't. So Pamela, my wife, is doing all of that. And I believe she got books out this morning, which is cool. And like I said yesterday, I think it was, that we were shorted like 300 of the mini prints from one of our vendors. So we are at the printers again. Yeah, back to square one. We're at the printers again, getting those 300 printed up. And the drag about it is that I paid them for all of the prints, and they shorted me. So now I have to pay for 300 more, which is out of my pocket. So these things, there's always a lot of unseen expenditures that come up. And that was another one. You're probably asking, why don't you just go back to the same printer? Well, because we got these things printed months and months ago, and we had a little bit of a falling out with them because they had screwed another order up, and I didn't like the way it looked, and I had them reprint them from scratch. And the guy was livid, and I tried to save face. And to save face, I told him I would pay half of the print for the print run, just because I felt bad. Not that I had done anything, but that I felt bad. So I tried to work it out in a more, I guess, to where he felt better about it. I didn't feel better about it, but he did. And then he shorted me 300 prints. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that until just now, put it all together. Yeah, what a nice guy. So yeah, I don't want to go back there. So we're going with a different printer. And it's going to cost me more money, but it'll be less headache. Sometimes peace of mind is more important than money. And finding good vendors and good people to work with is essential to these Indiegogo campaigns. I've worked with a lot of different people so far, and there are people that get it, are professional, get stuff done without a lot of drama. And then there are people that every step of the game, there's an issue, a problem, something coming up. The money isn't enough. Like, well, you bid on it. You said it was going to cost this much money. And now you're saying, you're accusing me of, being a slave driver, working you too hard. Just stuff like that. It's like, it's pretty nuts. Like, you bid on the job, you knew what it entailed, you knew what it paid. But I think there are some people that will honor agreements and move forward and make the best of it. And there are people that just want to get whatever they want out of the situation, no matter what happens. Okay, so I think I got the line art on the face. So if you guys are wondering, all the stuff that I'm leaving is going to be brushwork. So I'm going to do another one of these hardline pieces, and then I'm going to go into some brushwork and bring these all together for you guys. But yeah, if anybody's thinking of doing an Indiegogo or any kind of crowdfund, try to find the most reputable people you can, because it's not always about money. Because sometimes you'll pay these people like top dollar, and they'll still burn you, or there'll still be pains in the ass to work with. So it's not always about money. So you kind of have to judge the situation up front before you get involved. And if you have at all like that little dread or voice in your head about working with somebody, man, follow it. Don't. Trust me, in the long run, it's better. It's better to keep looking for that person that you connect with than that person that's a pain. Because these things, there's a lot of moving parts to them, and it just, peace of mind at some point actually means a lot. Sometimes it means more than money. So work with cool people. And the one good thing about, well, there's a lot of good things, but there's a good aspect to what we do in this community, the Comics Gig community, is we share these vendors and these different talents with each other. And so the good thing is, if you find, like if you're friends with whoever and they say, oh, this printer, I highly recommend them, then they come with an endorsement and you can see what their book looked like. And if you like that person and you trust that person's point of view, then it's better than blindly going in. You can still get burned that way too. I've been burned that way, but it takes some of the risk out of it. And just make sure that whoever's telling you use this guy or that guy, that you really trust that person. Because that's how I got burned. They say he comes very highly recommended, good stuff, whatever. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you find out that they're not. And so you can still get burned that way. So you still have to kind of judge it for yourself. And like I said, if you get that little feeling, follow that and don't use that person. In the long run, it's way better. It's weird. There's a few people that I had working relationships with on black and white that I was like, no, I want to do something different. I want to do something, different with this campaign. And then you find out that maybe you should have stuck with the same talent pool, the same vendors, the same people. I know you guys are probably typing in, I want to know who these vendors are. I want to know who these people are. I'll probably, well, I should just, I can say who the vendor was on black and white. They were Global PSD, and don't use them, you guys. They're an American-based company, but their printing and all the manufacturing stuff is in China. And the China part isn't the problem, but that guy is. His name's Steven. I can't remember his last name, but they do a lot of comic book related stuff. They do a lot of art books, and you've probably seen them. Like if you're in Artist Alley at any bigger convention, like WonderCon or San Diego, those guys are there, and they're trying to promote and get business. And so I was thinking of using them for the Oodles book, but then I talked to, was it Humberto Ramos or somebody like that, or maybe it was, what is the company's name that prints up the Art Adams art book? Oh, I got one here. Let me see if I can find their name. I can't even remember the guy I talked to's name, but he recommended a printer, and so did Humberto. Is it Fleece? How do you spell it? It's FLESK Publications, and it's John. And I talked to him, Flesk. I talked to him at San Diego a couple years ago, and this is great stuff, man. And he turned me on to a printer, and Humberto turned me on to a printer as well. And I think I went with Humberto's guy, and they were Asia. It's called Asia Korea, and they were really good. That Oodles book looks amazing. And we had some language problems with communication because we had never done anything like this before, like an art book like this. And so there was some misunderstandings about how the UV coding and all that worked. And they couldn't really articulate it in a way that we understood, because we really needed somebody to kind of walk us through the process. And so they just weren't the type, because of the language and sometimes people's personalities, they're not that type of people. They don't want to spend the time to walk you through a process or whatever. They just expect you to understand or educate yourself to do it, and then that's it. And so for whatever reason, that's where we were with it. But we eventually did figure it out, and we got a great cover out of it. Is this the right pin? I think so. And so I remember, I was talking to that Steven from Global PSD through all of that. And so, it's one of the things, like the grass is always greener kind of scenarios. And so he was like, well, you'll never have that problem if you work with us, because I work directly with the Chinese people at the printer. You won't have to. So the language problem won't be an issue. And to be honest, he kind of helped us out with templates for the Oodles book. So I kind of felt a little beholden to him, like I wanted to give him my business. He seemed cool at the time. And even though the reason I brought up that Flesk, is it John Flesk? I think Flesk. And is because he warned me not to use them. And he said they're a little expensive and they're kind of difficult to work with. And, it's one of those things where, you talk with, like I talked with Steven, and I thought, like, yeah, he seems like a nice enough guy. He's a cool guy. Very helpful. But man, as soon as the contract, as soon as they had everything, that guy could not have been more difficult and more hard-assed and troublesome on every step of the way. Every step of the way was pulling teeth with him. A lot of the reason why Black and White shipped late is because of him. He would tell us things, and then he just wouldn't come through with them. We'd have emails and say, well, on this email, you said we would have this by this time. And he said, yeah, but, manufacturing, is this. And he always had a reason for why something wasn't working out. And after a while, it just becomes like, I don't believe you. There's always something. Like for every one action, there's like two other things that have to happen for this one thing to happen. I know that's kind of abstract, but in lieu of giving you actual what happened, that's kind of in a nutshell. Just a pain in the ass. And I just got the vibe. I got this vibe from him that he was a weasel. He was a weasel, and that he was balancing a lot of stuff, not just our order, but other people's order. And he was kind of used to hiding behind bureaucracy and double speak. And that's what he did the whole time. Was basically, in a nutshell, he's a liar. He was lying to us most of the time. And whenever we called him on something, he was also a little thin-skinned. So he would turn it back on us, like, how dare you talk to me like that? You said we would have this at this time. We didn't. I called you a liar, which is what you are. And I didn't start off just calling him a liar. I called him a liar after several times of him lying to me. So yeah, just in a nutshell, I know it's probably really abstract to you guys and you don't really care, but yeah, make sure that your vendors and the people that you're working with, that you really trust them, because you can get down the line and then have some trouble. And I was told that this guy was kind of a pain, and I didn't believe people. And I got myself into a situation. The black and white book looks great. I mean, it came out amazing, but it was a royal pain in the ass. As far as other vendors, like printers and stuff like that, I'm going to try to do more stuff locally, within the area, so I can go there, meet with people, talk to them, that type of thing, to try to avoid possibly some of this long distance stuff. Yeah. It was definitely a learning process. And they have a pretty big name, and they have done a lot of work. I think they used to do, actually, I think Humberto warned me about the guy too, because I think they used to do Humberto's art books, and I believe they're still doing J. Scott Campbell's art book. So, that's why I wanted to work with them, because their stuff looks great. Their work, their printing looks great. But man, that guy was quite a pain to work with. Man, it broke it. My relationship with him broke down so badly that poor Pamela, my wife, had to step in, and then it all went through her, because I couldn't deal with the guy anymore. He was such a liar, and it's hard for me to bite my tongue, when somebody's, kind of pulling your leg. I feel like if I continue and I let them do that, then, I'm letting them get a false sense of like that they're lying to me and it's working. And then I just don't want them to feel like I'm gullible like that. Like, oh, I could just tell this guy anything. So I usually, when it's important, I'll call people on their BS, in business dealings and stuff like that, because it's important to me. If somebody's just BSing me at a dinner party or something like that, I don't care. I can just think to myself, yeah, you're full of shit, and then move on. But when it's business and it's important, I can't not say something. Steven, if you're listening, I told you I was going to blast you. So yeah, I forget his name, Steven whatever, but it's his company. Yeah, it's him and his ex-wife, I think, that run it. And they do a lot of printing for comic books and the like. But yeah, he was a little bit of a pain. Well, he was a big pain. Yeah, I'll never work with him again. Which is a shame, because also, you spend that much time and you get a working relationship with somebody. And if I was to do a volume 2 with black and white, or I was to do a newsprint version or whatever, I already have a working relationship with this guy. So it would be it should be easy just to go, hey, print me up another 1,000 of these books, the way you did before, and then there should be a shorthand there, so you don't have to go over everything all over again. But at this point, I think I would rather build a whole new relationship with somebody than work with them. So that's my cautionary tale. They're everywhere too. Like I don't know if they do the East Coast shows, but as far as West Coast, they're at WonderCon, they're at San Diego always, and they're passing out their flyers and talking to a lot of indie people. And also their prices are pretty much what everybody else is. You know, they're not really that much cheaper. So to deal with that kind of like pain in the ass, you could work with anybody. So I think I'm going to try local, and then I'm going to, because I already have a relationship. I think her name is Jennifer at Print Ninja. So I might, because I've been talking with her, and basically Print Ninja was on, they were kind of there, because I did early on have a little bit of a hint that Steven was going to be a pain in the ass. So I did look into Print Ninja at one point, and they were a lot easier to deal with. I think that Global PSD too were like, they were very like they must have been sued a lot or something, because there's all this paperwork, like to get any one thing done, there's like all of this paperwork, and there's all this conversation you have to just get anything done. So there's a lot of, sign this, we're not responsible for whatever, there's a lot of that type of stuff. And when I've worked with other printers before, so it's not like, I didn't know what to expect, but I'd never had anything like that before. Like, it's usually they tell you what they're going to do. You send them some startup money to get them going, and then you make payments along the way, just like you would any other contractor. And yeah, but these guys, it was every little thing, all this contract, all this paperwork, and all of it was always one-sided. Like all the paperwork and everything that was in these contracts was all one-sided. It was all just to protect them. And I think anytime you have somebody that's that, I guess, nuts about that stuff, then well, I knew, but there's nothing I could do about it because I had already started, working with them. But they're probably weasels, and they've been sued before a lot, and so they're trying to cover their asses. Because it was more just liability stuff. It wasn't even like just getting on the same page kind of agreement stuff. Okay, so like I promised, I'm going to do a little bit of brushwork here. So there's that. This is the fun part. I like working with the brush. It really brings it all together. So yeah, I've been teasing going into the printing thing for a while. So yeah, make sure, if you got your indie book and you want to get it done, that you work with some really, like, not only good talent, people that will do a good job with your book, but make sure that you don't have any like vibes that they're going to be weasels, that they're on the up and up. Yeah, I don't know. I totally went against what people had told me, because I had met that Steven and I didn't really get a weasel vibe from him up front. I didn't get it until it started getting serious, until there was money and the contracts had already been signed and things are already moving forward as far as printing. And even at that point is when, I called him a liar and started looking at Print Ninja, started looking for viable replacements. But I think enough of the CG guys have worked with Print Ninja, and none of them has said anything bad about the company or the experience. So I'm thinking that that will probably be a pretty viable company to work with. If I decide to go, non-local, like outside of because I think there's still a like out of country company. They might even still be China. Or Canada. Or Mexico. But yeah, we used a lot of local vendors for the ash can, for the trading cards, the bookmarks, and pretty much everything that wasn't the book itself. And that's another thing that guy told me. I said, what? I said, can we get a better deal if I bring you the entire campaign? Because I was thinking we get everything printed at the same, the printer, and save ourselves like some effort. And so I said to that Steven, I said, so is this good? Would we probably save some money doing this? And he's like, oh, most definitely. So once we got things worked out, he gave us a price for those, the trading cards and all that other stuff. Man, it was high. It almost felt like he had us, and so then he was just going to ream us, because it was expensive. And it was funny, because if you would think, like, you always think that China and like these other places would be less expensive, and maybe they are, but not through these guys. It was crazy high. And so we started looking into other options, and we found a couple local printing places where we live here, and they not only beat it by a lot, but we could talk to them. The quality was amazing, and it was way better. The only thing is they can do comics, and we looked into the pricing on some of the comics, like the ones that we've been using, and for comic books, for some reason they can't beat the price. But there's some other like printers that are still local but not like really close, like they're up in LA in different places that I can go. So it's still local within the state, but not in the neighborhood, which would still be better than dealing with a different time zone and country. At least that's what I'm thinking at this point. 6 months from now, I'll be going like, man, China and all these other countries are so much easier to work with. Yeah, I know everything comes at a price and everything's different. Every work relationship has its pros and cons to it. All right. So another one down. Let's do my border here. Okay. Okay, so there's one completed. Well, I still have the ink wash, but you guys get it. Let me see. I'm going to take a little break and read the chat. You guys are probably all snoozing and losing. The gay is set too high. Oh, we're back. Don't touch the camera. Okay, so that's back a little bit. Hey, we got Gary Shipman at 2:05. What time is it now? It's 3:00. We had Gary Shipman. Anyway, Gary Shipman, hi. I think he has a Indiegogo up for the Titan. His little like mouse character, which looked pretty cool. It looks real like Will Eisner-ish. The style, it's pretty cool looking, and I think Gary uses a lot of brush, which I applaud. Can someone request having white sticking out her tongue? No. Gross. Art has a very bizarre camera. Yeah, I do, and I don't know. Is it still behaving itself? For some reason, I'm looking at the artwork itself, and it looks a little weird. Plans within plans. Yes, always making plans. What is this? Wilberforce Worcester. I am not even sure what it is doing. It looks like color loss, especially on your sleeves and hand. Yeah, it did look weird, but it was also really grainy. So thanks you guys for helping. Yeah, it wasn't the saturation. It was the it was the contrast or whatever I said it was. Brightness seemed to help. Yeah, thanks guys. It's not a potato cam. That's fun to say it's a potato cam though. It's I think it's StreamYard, because I set all of this stuff before I go live, and then inevitably, as soon as it goes live, it does that weird look. It's okay. The blue lines are black. They stand out pretty well. The drawing itself is fine. The Brits call it a kilometer stone. Okay. I have to live in a basement like Ethan. I would love a basement, man. Like square footage, extra square footage. That's cool. Hello. We have a couple newbies in the chat here. We have King Crow. Hello. We have Gus. What's up? Hey. Hey Art, has Black and White Volume 1? Let me click on this. Hey Art, has Black and White Volume 1 been sent out to the UK yet? Yes, there have been books shipped out. So I think yesterday or the day before, Pamela, my wife, she's the one that's handling all the shipping. She said there were about 340 books left. So there's still books that haven't gone out yet. So yours might be one of them, Benjamin. So just try to be patient. I know it's hard. It's been a while, but they are going out on a daily basis. And we had a little bit of a snag, I said earlier on, with the printer. And it got me off on this whole tirade about printers and partnering with different people. I am happy Chrono Mechanics made 30K, 6 more pages. Brilliant. Yes, thank you so much, man. And what is the next stretch goal? That is the big question, right? That is the big question. I need something new to inspire. Maybe somebody in the chat, you guys in the chat, could hit me to some new stretch goals. Nice pick. John always talks high praise on Print Ninja. Yeah, he does. And like I said, we have a contact. Her name's Jennifer, and she's pretty cool with stuff. She answers all our questions and gets back really quickly. So I like that. Yeah, the book, Chrono Book, is in demand right now until we go to print. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get everything done before that due date we gave you. So we're moving a little faster than I was thinking we would. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. As far as getting the book done, but like I said, it's still going to depend on the printer, because the printer told us originally, the one for Black and White told us 6 weeks or 6 to 8. I think it ended up taking 3 months, which is not acceptable at all. With a reputable Chinese company, I work with Chinese factories weekly, real good people. Well, I will be in touch with you about that. Yeah, Print Ninja is Chinese. Okay, that's what I thought. We have John Whalen. What's up, John? How are you? Perfect binding. Perfect bind. That's the square bound, right? So that would be great to do as the next stretch goal, because I really like that graphic novel type of square bound look. Like we were able to get Black and White. See, that looks bad. It shouldn't look that bad. The color, like, it's really dark. But anyway, it's square bound here, and I like that. And then we can do, look at that. It's so freaking awesome. So thick. Yeah, it's got like a crease here too, so the cover folds really nicely. So I would love to do Chrono this way with a square bound. So maybe that would be a good next stretch goal. But that's a lot more expensive than the I think it's called Saddle Stitch, the staples. So if we can, I'll have to do some number crunching to see what number we'll have to hit to make that happen. But that would be amazing to get into more of that square bound format. I would like that very, very much. Okay. Man, can you guys hear that clock? I'm so in tune to it now that you guys mentioned it. It's in the other room, but I can hear it. Yeah, I might do this one up and then call it a stream. You guys have been very, very cool to hang out with me. I do appreciate it. It does make the time go a lot quicker and makes it a lot more fun. And I still have that piece of artwork I need to share with you guys. So don't go anywhere. Don't leave home without it. Do it this way. All right, I got my dry brush now. I can put my dry brush lines in. I like a little dry in here. Okay. One good aspect or another good aspect of the brush is that each one of these, because the brush is such a unique tool, are going to have like their own kind of personality, each one of these commissions. And like I said, if you guys want one of these, just go through the Art by Thibert site and then message me through there and we can work something out. Okay. It's getting noisy out there. I love it when a commission comes together. It's my A team. I don't know if you guys have girlfriends or wives like this, but when I first started dating my now wife, Pamela, you get in those like conversations for hours and hours. And so one of the early ones we got into was she liked Super Freak by Rick James. And I was like, that's cool. And we talked for hours about the Three Stooges. If you guys can find a woman that likes the Three Stooges, marry her, because it's very, very rare. And so she liked the Three Stooges, and so it was meant to be. I forget where I was going with that, but I guess if you can find somebody that you can connect with. Oh, she also said that she loved Ben Grimm. She read the Fantastic Four when she was a kid. So she was a comic book reader. And there were a couple other things. She liked the original Star Wars. I think all the new stuff, even the Lucas stuff, just killed her because she doesn't have any love for any of that stuff anymore, which is pretty sad. Okay. All right. Well, that went faster than I thought it would. Okay. Do. All right. So there's that one. It's getting a little dark in here now. Now I can bring some light over. So there we go. So let me see. What do we have? I have a stack of them now. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 that have all the brush and line art. And so I think these are the ones that I did today. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to do on brush. So I'm going to do one more before I call it, so I can feel like I accomplished something. My brush is losing the tip. Okay. I like that. Let's get some black in here. A little black in here. And I told you guys before, when I was young and aspiring to do comic books, I always inked my own work because I always felt like it wasn't done unless it had ink on it, even when I was young. So I always dug the ink line. It just, does something for me, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, people sometimes, like at conventions and things, and they're like, "Oh, are you afraid like that inking's gonna go away? Inking's a dinosaur, and they say all these things. I'm like, I don't think so. I think that there's definitely like the computers coming in, and it makes certain things easier. And I use the computer for certain things as well, but it's just another tool. And I think that there are three things that fundamentally make a comic book for me, and I don't know if you guys are the same way, but yeah, I gave this a lot of thought because there was a lot of articles written, and even fans, like I said, that would come up and ask me these questions at shows. They say, "Oh, is inking going away? Is inking dinosaur?" And I say no, because there are three fundamental aspects, as far as I'm concerned, that really make a comic book. And one is obviously sequential storytelling, right? And then two is like word balloons and lettering. Like when you see like a word balloon, you automatically think of a comic book. Like really the only place stuff like that exists is in a comic book, is like word balloons. And then the other one, and I usually start with this, but I was trying to be fair, is ink. Because really the only place this art form, inking, exists on this level is in comic books. So one of the quickest ways to identify a piece of comic book artwork is if it was inked. Otherwise, it's just kind of illustration. If you're just doing Photoshop, like paintings and stuff like that, or you're doing full-on painting and scanning it in, and that's how you're going to tell your comic book. It's still a comic book. It's still sequential and all those other things, but it's not like a traditional comic book. Like ink is one of those things like that is unique only to this art form. The ink is one of the main ways that you can tell it's a comic book. Like if it's an inked piece of artwork, then you're like, oh, that's from a comic book. Like I said, because it's the only place usually you see this type of art. Advertising at one point used to use ink a lot because it was in newspapers and things like that. So to save in printing, they would use inked illustration because it translates better and it's cheaper in like a newspaper, or even in a lot of cheaper printed magazines. So there was a lot more ink illustration in the day, and so even animation would have like inked cells, like the animation cells would be inked. So ink was a lot more used at one time as far as advertising and print work, even like I said in animation, but not so much anymore. Like even illustration is kind of dead, like traditional illustration, because everybody uses photographs and then they just kind of augment those photographs in Photoshop and then they call that art. Just listen to Drew Struzan talk about that art form just dying and going away. So like I said, ink is the only place that it really, comic books is the only place that inking really exists. And I think it's one of the benchmarks or one of the main parts of a comic book that describe it, or that are one of the main ingredients of what makes a comic book. Because like I said, if you're just doing illustration and you're doing them sequentially in a panel, that's sequential storytelling. It is that, and it would still be a comic book, but it's not what we think of as a comic book. Even like when Madison Avenue advertising companies do artwork to emulate, like, oh, this is like comic book artwork or whatever, they always ink it up. It's always inked. It always has like some kind of black holding line on it, because it's one of the main ingredients that makes up this art form. And so when people ask me that about inking, that's what I tell them. I say it's one of the only places, and I think it's the only place I can think of, that actually art form that uses ink in such a fashion. And just based on that, that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it not just a painted illustration. That's what makes it a comic book, is the ink. At least that's how I feel. And so I don't think it's ever truly going to go away. And even a lot of the programs and stuff, what they do with the programs is they emulate this type of look. You know what I mean? It's not inked per se by hand like what I'm doing here, but it does have that ink look to it. And the reason they do that is because that's the language. That's how a comic book looks. So even people that are using digital are emulating what I am doing by hand. So ink going away, I don't know, maybe, but like this type of ink, like by hand, but it's still being done digitally. So they're still emulating this type of look digitally. And that's a big part of it. Because even the biggest company out there, Marvel, DC, they still don't have the cojones just to like actually get rid of inking altogether, because they know that this is a major part. And also the cool thing about what I do is that there's an original. Like there's a lot of people that work digitally that aren't creating originals anymore. And that's kind of sad, but it's good for people like me, because like what I'm doing right here, it's an original drawing that you can own. And it's not a print, and it's not, it's not a digital file that you can look at on your computer. You can, but it's more than that. So that's pretty cool. I still think it's amazing. Like I said, since I was a kid, this is what did it for me. That ink line. Yeah, there's just a handful of things that actually make a comic book, and I think that ink is one of the essential ingredients. I remember having a conversation with Joe Quesada, of all people, and when he was kind of in charge over at Marvel, and I met with him. I went out to lunch, I think, with him and Michael Bendis, And at the time, I was running Hack Shack Studios, and that it was full on, like we were in like crazy production mode and everything. So I had an idea that what if, we did production work, or what was considered production work, and ink work. So we would do like coloring and lettering as well. So we would be kind of like a one-stop shop. So you would give us, the work, and we would ink it up as talent. We would color it as production, and we'd letter it as production. And so then we would give you back, like Marvel back or DC or whoever, a file of a finished. It would be a finished page. Like they wouldn't have to do anything, just print it. And so I went out to lunch with them and pitched the idea, and it had this whole like color brochure printed up and everything. So it was a whole dog and pony, and we did get work out of it. But I do remember, like snarky Joe Quesada said, "So, does this mean you're afraid that for your job as an inker? So so the writing's on the wall, huh? You believe that inking's going away as well?" Because that's kind of what they were pushing. And I didn't do it for that reason. I did it just as a way to, just expand the studio. If you're not growing, you're dying. So it was just kind of a way of making more work opportunities for ourselves, and possibly bring in some other people. There were a couple, people that were working at Hack Shack at the time that had coloring skills. So I was just kind of trying to make opportunity for everybody. And so, yeah, I thought that it always stuck with me that he said that. So, you're fearful that inking is kind of going the way of the dodo. And I was like, no, it's just a way of expanding. But by him saying that sure did say a lot, because then whatever I thought they were doing was like, yeah, that's what they're doing. And then years later, they started that whole like ink rates based on the level of book. So if you're working on an A-list book or level book, you get an A level like page rate. If you're working on a B level, you get a B level, and so on and so forth. And I was like, what kind of bullshit is this, man? So you can get, a 25-year, 30-year comic book veteran that you can rely on, that is going to do a great job and get things done on time. You can pay him like really crappy wages to just based on a book. That is like the lowest of the low. So, I mean, could you imagine if like any other place of employment decided to do that? Like, we know you've been here at this firm for, 30 years, but when you take this job here, because it's probably the only job we're going to give you, we're going to pay you half of what you're worth and what you've worked for 35 years or whatever time you've invested in. We're going to pay you half of that, or we're going to pay you whatever percentage of that. And man, that right there, I was like, Marvel really, they have such contempt for this art form. They have such contempt for what we do. It's not funny. Wow, I went on a tirade. I did not have this planned, but yeah, I mean, it broke my heart, man. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? You're reducing people. Like, you could get an A-level guy like myself for a D-level page rate. That's bullshit, man. And I remember I was talking, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying all this stuff. I was talking to Andy Smith, and I think Andy was working with Jim Starlin, and he was inking him on some Thanos thing for Marvel a couple years back. And I remember talking to him about this just privately, and he said that, okay, they hired him in, and I guess Jim as well, because the book was only going to sell X amount. So, they hired him in at that price. And so they agreed, it was up front. They agreed that that's what they were going to work for, no problem. But what happened is they took a whatever C-level selling book, which is the rate that they were getting, and they brought it up to a B level as far as sales and stuff like that. And I guess this is all based on, Marvel's numbers and stuff. And so, Marvel didn't volunteer more money to them. And so they asked them, they said, well, we took this from a C-level selling book to a B level, or maybe it was a B to an A. I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was a step up, or like one or two steps up. And Marvel still didn't pay them. They got a lot of crap for it. So I don't know how exactly it turned out, but it was definitely going to get into a fight. Those guys were going to have to justify their position, and they were going to have to get into some kind of, fight over this money, which should never have happened. Marvel, based on their own rules, should have just volunteered that to them, but they didn't. And at that point in time, they still hadn't made more money for it. So why would you give them your top skill level if you're not going to get paid for it? Like, what point is that? If even by their own rules you can't move yourself up the ladder. You can't build yourself out of that scenario. Yeah, I thought that was horrible. Yeah, I don't really care for that company. I think they've done a lot to this industry to kind of destroy it. And that's just personally how I feel. I don't feel that way towards DC. DC still respects that. They still paid me a decent amount of money when I had a problem or I wanted a raise or whatever. We could work it out like civilized human beings. They didn't go, oh, well, we're going to put you on a D-level book so we can pay you, crap money. No, they still treated me decently. And I have a lot of respect for them as far as that. But Marvel they did not have that problem. And then it was like a couple months ago or maybe even a year ago that CB, like there was some kind of press release and CB was like, we respect inkers. We want to bring inkers into the fold, and it's an art form and it's a talent. And the reason they wanted inkers is because they weren't treating any good inkers with any amount of respect. So they all went over to DC at the time. I don't know if it's still the case, but all the best inkers are all at DC Comics as far as I'm concerned. And so they all went to DC, and then Marvel was now like, oh my gosh, these books are starting to look very amateur hour. And with a good inker, you could still get like a very amateur talent on the book. So you could pay a penciler, not a lot of money if you have a pretty talented inker on there that can finish it up and make it look good. And you could still probably save money in the long run because, you can pay an inker, or inkers traditionally make less than a penciler. Not always. I made a lot more money than a lot of pencilers did, but in a normal scenario, that's how it works. So even if they were, hiring a good inker, they would still save money with like a mediocre penciler. And also, with a decent inker, you can have a house style. So you can have like an inker that works in a certain style, a very commercial style, like a Marvel house style. And those guys can bring that same look to a lot of different people. So you can have kind of a house style and you can control things with an inker where you can't, any other way. If you're, trying to identify with a house style or, that type of look, where Marvel and DC have kind of over years had a house style. I don't really keep up with the mainstream stuff too much anymore to know if that's still the case. Sometimes in a glib way, I say, Marvel is hiring a bunch of like Tumblr art. And I'm not trying to say that all artwork on Tumblr is bad, but there is kind of a Tumblr like house style. And I noticed that just from a glance that a lot of the Marvel books seem to look like that. To me, so if you had that type of look and you had a pen, like an inker that could ink in like a house style, you could change that. So you could still pay your next to nothing wages to these Tumblr artists who are going to find out the hard way in time that them taking or undercutting more established talent is going to come back on them at some point, because they're going to be those people in 20 years or 10 years. And some young guy is going to come in there and undercut them. And then the industry is never going to grow and is never going to expand, because they're going to constantly be undercutting themselves. And so as far as making a living at Marvel, or mainly Marvel, even DC doesn't. I mean, I wish everybody paid more, because based on what we do and how many hours we put into this stuff, we definitely deserve a lot more money. But having said that, I think you can work in this business for, I don't know, 20 years and not see much of an increase in your pay. And that's because you have somebody that's willing to come in and undercut you and not build off of what you've made, but whatever, Marvel or DC are going to give them. And I feel bad including DC. So I'm not trying to throw shade at DC, because they are a lot better. They pay way more competitive rates. Sorry, but still, it's way under like even cost of living. So you have to do so much work to make ends meet at those companies. It would be nice to see people not undercutting each other, and for companies to actually pay what the talent it's really worth in a realistic way. And if they can't, because they always go, well, we can't because we don't have the money because the books aren't selling. So it's this constant low self-esteem spiral that you've created for yourself. It's like, oh, well, we can't because we're not making money. Well, you're making something, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this. So that's not a good enough excuse. And if your excuse is that the reason you can't pay people good money is because you're not making that much money, that's BS. You're Time Warner, you're Disney. Make more money. Advertise, do what you have to get the sales up. What other business do you know just relies on word of mouth and comic book shops, or like a small, handful of these shops to solely sell your product? And you're okay with that. Like, you don't see any problem with that. Well, then don't take it out on the talent. Expand the marketplace, sell outside of those places, make more money, pay people what they're worth. That's not a very good excuse. I mean, if you work for a mom and pop company and you really like them, and you know that they have integrity, and you're thinking that maybe they're going to build into something, or you have hopes for growth, then you kind of invest in them and you take less money because you'll be on the ground floor when it does hit or whatever. But these are established companies that have been around for decades. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Time Warner says, we don't have any money. We don't have enough money to pay you a fair amount. Disney, we don't have enough money to really be competitive in the marketplace or to give you a living wage. Yeah. Did I do all these? I got off on a tangent. And let's see what I got here. Well, I have like 3 more. I think I'll stop now, and I'll give you that little preview page and show it off, and then bid you guys adieu. Wait, are you gonna stay there? You gonna stay there? Yeah, you're gonna stay there. So Wilberforce stayed up all that time. Do you do perfect binding? That might be a future. We have DeWolf Flying Sidecar Press. Look at this beautiful art. I mean, art. Thanks, man. Yeah, Todd DeWolf is one of the gang, the Pontificator gang. So we usually do a Pontificators every Friday around 6 Pacific Standard Time. So DeWolf is a major contributor. I'm not sure we'd be able to do that show without him. So, and he's pretty funny. He's a smart guy. Spot gloss, like Clint, would be cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can do. I just have to do some price breaks, figure out some pricing and see, what we would have to put that stretch goal at to achieve that. I have not. Is it good? Is it good? Hey, we got Purple Smurf 13. Hey there, T Bear. Just don't call me T Bag, because I won't answer. So don't do it. We have the Wolf back. 4-color comics are relied on the ink as a large part of the presentation. Yeah, the printing process needed it. And ink was relatively cheap, and it reproduced well on newsprint or on less expensive paper. Because let's keep in mind, comic books, newspapers, those things were disposable entertainment. They were never meant to last. So that's why they came out daily as far as a newspaper, or in the case of comics, every month. Ink still carry that feeling of comics through the medium. Yeah, I agree. I concur. Let's see. This might be the last leg kick one. Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Johnny. How about listening to the real fans? Don't insult them. Well, there's that too. They're insulting the artist and the fans. Yeah, there's and I'm mainly talking about Marvel. I really do want to make sure that I'm not throwing DC under the bus, because I have not seen a lot of this type of stuff coming from DC. For the most part, I like that company. Marvel, based on who's running the show right now and how they've been running the show for a while, pretty nasty guys. Not a lot of nice people there. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I got a few more of these I'm gonna do tonight. I don't know, maybe I'll try to come back and do some more live, just because it's a lot of fun hanging with you guys. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. I got a screen share. I got to do this. I did not see Kevin in the chat, but this is for you, Kevin. Kevin is a major supporter of all the campaigns, and for Black and White and with CHRONO Mechanics. And so he commissioned me to do Judge Anderson. So I worked it up, pencils and inks. That's what he paid me to do. And so I had my friend, my buddy, Priya, who colors Black and White, and he did the color work for the variant cover, the Carlo Barberi variant cover of Caravaggio, the Chrono cover. He did the color on that as well. He's brilliant, and he usually doesn't sign the covers, so I made him sign this cover. So let's see his signature here. All right. Where are you? There it is. So he signed it, Perea. So this might be the only time, or maybe he'll get crazy and he'll start signing his name all the time. But yeah, he signed the cover. So I never knew that, like, you had to ask people to sign the cover, but I wish I would have done that a while ago, because it would have been nice to have the signature on some of the pieces that I've done in the past. So if that's what it takes, I will ask him each and every time, because he's brilliant. Look at this. This is so amazing. So I wasn't commissioned for the colors, but I just wanted to do something nice for Kevin, since he does so much for these different campaigns that I do, and he's such a supporter of this channel and the Indiegogo stuff, that I hired Priya to do the colors for him. So I'm going to send Kevin the high res of this tonight, so he'll have this to put in his collection. I might actually make a print of it and send it along as well. That might be a nice thing to do. So I just wanted to do something nice for Kevin. So, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Not a way to virtue signal like I'm a great guy, but I thought it came out so good. I wanted to show you guys what Perea had done. And it's been a while since, I've really showed off any of my more serious stuff, less cartoony work. So, God, look at these skin tones, man. Oh, I love high res. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I love high res art. Look at that. Boom. The shadows are really cool from her hair. All the textures on the armor. This dude's, he's amazing. It's the right balance of like slick and texture, because I don't like really slick coloring. And I don't like overly textured. So this is a nice combination of the two. So, and we've worked with each other for a year now. So he pretty much is in tune with my tastes. So I don't even really have to art direct this stuff anymore. He just kind of does it, which is nice. Yeah, really, really cool, man. If you're listening, Priya, thank you so much, man. You rock this thing. He keys into all the shadows that I put down. Look at that. Yeah, just brilliant. So thank you so much, Kevin, for supporting this channel and everything I do. And I did put this up on Twitter, so he has seen it. And maybe I'll show it off if I know he's going to be in the chat later, so we can see it, because it's nice to be able to blow it up. Because, like, you know, the Twitter is a lower resolution copy, and it doesn't always look that cool. But this way I can blow it up, and it's the highest res that it can be, so the quality is really good. So thank you, Kevin. If you are in the chat, that was for you, brother. Oh, what happened here? Did you guys see that? I hope you did. Screen sharing was canceled. Make sure you click share on the model. We can't see it, Art. Holy crap. Let me do this again. So just, you guys remember everything I said. You should see it now. Everything was there, man. The stop sharing and all that stuff. I don't know why it didn't do it. Yeah. All the buttons were lit up properly, so something glitched. I apologize. This is this is not a good technology day for me. So yeah, so just like I said, remember all those things I previously said. So here's a close-up. I'm not going to say all that heartfelt nonsense again. But yeah, this is for you, Kevin. So thanks for all the support. Man, first the camera, then the screen share. What the hell? What the hell's going on here? Technology is no one's friend. If technology was an ice cream flavor, it would be pralines and dick. That's a Wayne's World joke. So now you can see the Priya signature. This is a rare signature, because I've never seen him sign anything before. So there it is, right there. Look at all this texture and just the shoe and everything. It's so cool. So freaking awesome. So darn good. So yeah, so that's the piece right there. I will stop sharing and see if this damn thing will work. Noise. Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad. I feel stupid. No worries, Art. It was worth it. Well, that's good. You guys are always so kind. Yeah. Yeah. Boom. I think you mean Boomer. Actually, that was not me. The camera was a little bit me. But this was not me, because I got like a glitch when I came back to screen or StreamYard. It showed that there was a glitch. So, well, thank you so much, Mayfield Jukes. Much appreciated. So I am going to wrap this one up. It's 4 o'clock. I think it's time for a snack. I think I've mentioned I'm trying to eat like every 2 hours, but not heavy, something light, and not pig out 3 times a day, but kind of eat lighter throughout the day. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for keeping me company. And like I said, I might come back to this later because I want to get all these things done. So I may hang out with you later and bring some more of these things to life. So thanks again. Talk to you soon.